And hello, my fabulous students. This is your favorite teacher, Mr. Jacobson. I am excited to be with you today. Today, we're going to talk about the global consequences of connectivity happening during 1200 to 1450. Um, a lot of people and a lot of places are starting to talk to each other. Mongolians have a lot of responsibility for that. We want to look at what are the consequences, be it good or bad, that occur with all this trading. We got the Silk Road, the Indian Ocean trade, and we got the Trans-Saharan trade. A lot of exciting stuff are going to happen here that's going to propel us into the next time period of 1450 to 1750. So let us begin. All right, so we have syncretism happening here. Remember, we got syncretism. We got, let's take right here, Buddhist doctrine plus Taoist traditions. It's going to make Chan, or also known as Zen Buddhism. So you got the blending, the merging, the synchronization of two beliefs. We have Buddhist doctrine, Taoist traditions, and then that's going to make Chan Buddhism. And what this is going to be is it's going to be really popular among native Chinese. Confucian scholar gentry. Remember, we talked about the scholar gentry before? The scholar gentry, they're going to really start adopting a lot of these Chan Zen Buddhist beliefs, and mainly because they're going to be more available due to printing that's happening in China. These writings will become more available, and even the scholar gentry who are Confucian at heart, they're going to start incorporating elements of this as well into their daily practices. We got Japan and Korea. They're also going to adopt Chan Buddhism into their cultures with the sinification going on. Um, Also, we have yet another like synchronization that happens yet again. So you take Confucianism plus Taoism plus Buddhism, and you get da 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 Neo-Confucianism, which Confucianism was originally like a philosophy. It wasn't meant to be a religion, but now they're going to kind of merge these three together, and you're going to get a religion known as Neo-Confucianism. It's going to become widespread in Japan and Vietnam, and it's even going to become the official state ideology of Korea. Okay, also, we're going to see the spread of Hinduism and Buddhism, right? So in Southeast Asia, we got Sri Vijaya, which is a Hindu government. We got Majapahit, which is a Buddhist government. We got archaeological evidence that proves that it's a Buddhist government with Borobudur, which is a famous Buddhist temple. We got the Sinhala dynasties in like Southeast Asia. And then we got the Khmer Empire that goes, it begins as a Hindu government, but later changes to Buddhist. And so we have archaeological evidence that also, kind of helps us understand what happened at both Angkor Wat and Angkor Thom Temple. Here is the temple at Angkor Thom. And again, this suggests that Hinduism first spreads throughout the Southeast Asia, but later contracted as Buddhism expanded into the region. We also had the diffusion of Islam happening. So remember, we got merchants. A good example of merchants spreading Islam would be from the Trans-Saharan trade. You got the Muslim Berbers of North Africa, and they're crossing the Sahara Desert to come trade salt for gold and other products as well, of course. But in that process, they're slowly diffusing Islam to sub-Saharan Africa, since now the knowledge of crossing that desert has been given and they can do so. And now we also have missionaries, and some of the greatest Islamic missionaries are going to be a group called Sufis, because they're going to be a lot more open to other people's traditions and beliefs and allowing them to incorporate their beliefs into Islam. And then, of course, we have conquest, which Islam will spread through conquest as well. They did it the first 100 years or so of Islam's inception, and it will continue to do so throughout history. So Islam's going to spread throughout Africa, South Asia, and Southeast Asia. One thing to keep in mind is, we have a syncretism of language that occurs. So Swahili language is going to be an sub-Saharan African language that's going to be from a blend of Bantu and the Arabic. You have Timbuktu, which is going to become one of the major cultural centers of sub-Saharan Africa for Islam, and that's going to be in the Malian Empire and continue into subsequent empires. You have leaders of African states who are going to show their devotion to their newfound religion of Islam. They're going to make pilgrimage like Mansa Musa. Um, in South Asia, we're going to see Hinduism and Buddhism um, kind of get challenged by Islam. Islam's going to come in. Buddhists are going to be more readily to convert to Islam than Hindus because they're kind of disenchanted with the corruption of the priests. Um, with emphasis on equality, Islam is going to attract a lot of the lower caste Hindus. We have architecture that's going to be incorporated with Hindu and Islam, and we even have a language known as Urdu, which is that's gonna be like a mix of like Sanskrit-based Hindi, Arabic, and Farsi, and even the Bhakti are gonna come in, and eventually the Bhakti and the Idis, the spiritual elements of like the Bhakti and the Sufi of Islam can even will merge together and make Sikhism, which will be in the next time period. But so there's a lot of diffusion of Islam and synchronization happening as well as a result of this connectivity. There are going to be scientific innovations as well. You got many Islamic scholars who are going to translate the great works of Greek writers into Arabic, like Aristotle. You got advanced mathematical texts that are going to be brought from India. This man here is known as Aryabhata. He was in India region around like 500 CE or so, and he's kind of like one of the fathers of algebra. He came up with the concept of zero, which to us it just seems obvious, right? But back then there wasn't. You can't have algebra without having a concept of zero, and so he kind of makes that breakthrough. And then advancements in medicine are going to be made. They're going to have writings for ancient writings from the Greeks and Egyptians and Mesopotamians. It's going to really help them advance surgery and hospital care and all that as well. We're going to see diffusion of technological innovations. So we got paper making and printing techniques. They're going to diffuse along the Silk Road from China and reach to Europe. You got gunpowder and guns that spread. Grand Canal is an innovation that's really significant in China during the Song Dynasty. You have champa rice that continues to dramatically increase the populations. Seafaring technologies like lateen cells, stern rudder, astrolabe, magnetic compass, all going to play a major part in the next time period of 1450 to 1750. So another thing that's going to happen is we're going to see the fall of Constantinople. So the Byzantine Empire, I mean, is around for nearly 1,000 years. It's quite the empire. Eventually, it's going to meet its end. One of the reasons why it never really fell to other people who attacked it, because Constantinople was nearly impenetrable, because it was off the water, and then it had a wall on the other side, and it was just heavily fortified, right? But a few things are going to lead to the downfall of Constantinople. One, the Fourth Crusade is going to happen, and the Fourth Crusade, instead of fighting Muslims, which was supposed to be the whole point of the Holy War of the Crusades, um, that Fourth Crusade, it's going to be sacking Constantinople so Venetian merchants can control critical trade routes on the Black Sea and the Mediterranean Sea. So Italian, Venetian merchants kind of create this setup with the Pope. It says you're going to call a fourth crusade, but it's not going to be on the Middle East. It's going to be on Constantinople because we want to weaken the trade ties that they've acquired and we want to take them over. So that's going to happen. Another thing we have is the bubonic plague or the Black Death or whatever you guys want to call it, but it has a significant effect upon Constantinople. and it's going to kill about half its population. And then what we're going to see is the Ottoman Turks are going to siege the city for 53 days, and eventually they're going to sack it and take it down, and they will begin the Ottoman Empire, which will be around for 500 years, over 500 years. So anyway, and so there's a lot going on. As you can see, they're going to rename Constantinople Istanbul in the Ottoman Empire. So the effects of the Crusades, okay? One, you have increased demand in Western Europe for Middle Eastern goods, opening global trade regions. Two, you're going to see an increase of trading, resulting in, of course, the spread of disease, which is going to kill about 25 million in Europe alone. You're going to see serfs dying. Remember, serfs are part of the feudal system. They're the ones that are tied to the land, that work the land agricultural wise for the Lord. And so, with more serfs dying, allows serfs who live to negotiate for higher wages and more freedoms, which is eventually going to collapse the feudal system. And then we got Eastern Europe, and Muslim ideas will lead to the ideas of the Renaissance, which will be a golden age of Europe happening in the next time period, 1450, 1750. And then we'll have the rise of secularism as well. So there's some great travelers I need you to be aware of. One is Marco Polo. Why is he so great? And he's more than just a pool game, a game we play in the swimming pool. Okay, one, he visited China during the Yuan Dynasty. Remember, the Yuan Dynasty was created during the Mongolian Empire, and became friends with Kublai Khan, who is the grandson of Genghis Khan. So, Kublai Khan was the emperor of the Yuan Dynasty in China. After he returned to Venice, he wrote a book called The Travels of Marco Polo. uh, that's going to inspire many would-be explorers like Christopher Columbus in search of fame and glory. They're going to read about all these strange descriptions of of rivers that were aligned with gold, as Marco Polo described it. Um, all these things are going to inspire and excite the imaginations of people in the future to go out and explore, just like Marco Polo did. Many Europeans refuse to believe his description of China's wealth and size. They're like, it's impossible it could be that awesome. I think you're embellishing. But many people will eventually follow the route that he took to China and see that he was telling the truth to that degree. He writes his book from the point of view of a merchant and focuses a lot on economic themes. And then we got Ibn Battuta over here. Okay, Ibn Battuta, he is going to be this amazing traveler. He's going to set out to visit all of Dar al Islam. And to do that, he's going to go through so many places in the world. I mean, we got Central Asia, South Asia, Southeast Asia, China, Spain, North Africa, Malian Empire. So he's going to go around, and then he's going to be told by his ruler in Morocco when he returns to make an account of all his travels. And so he's not necessarily making the account as he's going from place to place, but it's more in hindsight. He then talks about it. It's called A Gift of Those Who Contemplate the Wonders of Cities and the Marvels of Traveling. And he writes this from the point of view of a devout Muslim. And then we got Marjorie Kemp. She is going to be one of the earliest autobiographies in English. She makes her travels and pilgrimages to Jerusalem, Rome, Germany, and Spain. She is one of the first-hand accounts of a middle-class um, medieval woman's life. So it kind of gives us a perspective of a woman living in that time period. Okay, so now we have the migration of crops. So we got champa rice. It likely originated in India, then to Champa, which is a state in Vietnam, and on to China. It's drought resistant. It's flood resistant. It yielded a double harvest each year. Many people used it for terraced farming, which allowed China to become more profitable because they could cultivate in areas where they couldn't cultivate before, in mountain regions, and it's going to increase dramatically the population of the Song dynasty. Another crop that gets really important is bananas. So bananas it comes from like Southeast Asia region, known as, like, we call it today Indonesia, the islands of Indonesia. It was brought to Africa by merchants on the Indian Ocean. It allowed the Bantu people to migrate to other parts of Africa where yams would not grow. Yams was a really rich nutrient product that allowed the Bantu to populate very quickly and to be very strong. And now the banana is going to come and it's going to be able to grow in places in Africa where the yams couldn't. And so, and again, bananas is also a very highly rich nutrient product. And so it's going to increase the population and nutrition of the Swahili city-states in Great Zimbabwe. Even on the islands of Madagascar, bananas will be very prevalent as well. And citrus crops like oranges are gonna come, lemons are gonna come from Southeast Asia again, and then they're gonna make their diffusion over to Southwest Asia or like the Middle East region, and many Muslims are gonna use that, and eventually that's gonna diffuse from there to Europe. And so we have all of this migration of crops happening, which today we benefit from significantly. We have environmental degradation happening. So number one, we have overgrazing, and this puts the final nail in the coffin of the Great Zimbabwe. And if you look now, here's the Great Zimbabwe. Even look around the exterior today. You can see that even today, you can see there's still like a deprivation in the soil around that region. So here's the Great Zimbabwe, which it's what was stories were told of in Africa, and because of overgrazing and environmental degradation, even today, it still looks like the land is somewhat barren all around, where it used to be very lush and green. We have deforestation, soil erosion happening throughout the feudal system and in Western Europe, and that's going to be a major problem since the feudal system is agricultural based. So, with less agriculture happening, the feudal system suffers significantly as a result. And then we have the Little Ice Age. This is going to cause a decrease in agriculture in Eastern Europe, as well as a slew of other health problems. And also, one of the last things we got here is the Black Death or bubonic plague. So Mongolian conquest is going to help spread the fleas that carried the disease. Okay, remember, so the fleas on the rats or on the animals that go across these major trade routes, they're the ones carrying this disease according to historians. Okay, so disease traveled from southern China to Central Asia along the Silk Road. Okay, we also have caravanserai. This is a picture of a caravanserai that's still standing along the Silk Road. Caravanserai contributed to the spread of disease with the animals that would come, the fleas would come with it. So it was a slow process, but more of a slow, deadly process, really. Um, so the disease spread from southern China again to Southeast Asia to the Middle East and then to Europe. In the Indian Ocean trade. So we have the Black Death or bubonic plague. It's going to travel along the Silk Road. It's also going to travel along the Indian Ocean. So the epidemic was estimated to have killed 75 to 200 million people throughout all of Afro-Eurasia during its duration. So it has devastating effects, not just on Europe, which it had great devastating power, but it's going to affect all of Afro-Eurasia in that regard. It wasn't just one group of people that was only affected. So go ahead and write your one-page summary and we'll discuss this when we get back. Thank you.